In this video, I'm going to be telling you what I did to pass the step 1 in 6 months while working full-time. Without further ado, let's get started. Now, the resources I use, I've divided them into active resources and passive resources. Now, the active resources are UWorld and the NBME. The passive resources are Boards and Beyond, Test Aid, Myanmar Medical. Alright, so how exactly did I study? In a 24-hour day, I will divide the day into two. One half for passive resources, another half for the active resources. So what do I do in the passive study time? I will watch videos on a particular system. When I'm done with that system, I will go to the PDF resource, either First Aid or Myanmar Medical. Personally, I prefer Myanmar Medical because I feel it gives better value for your time, alright? Or you can, check both out and see which one works for you. After watching a particular system, Boards and Beyond, you go to the PDF resource to kind of read it, to reinforce those concepts you have learned while watching the videos. Then in the second half of the day, I will do the active resources, which was mainly UWorld for me. Okay, now UWorld is considered the gold standard, alright, contains about 3,600 to 2,700 questions for the USMLE Step 1. Okay, now UWorld is a learning tool, not necessarily a testing tool, it's a learning tool. So you don't have to finish watching Boards and Beyond before you start studying UWorld. No, you should start both at the same time, simultaneously. Alright, I studied UWorld in random mode. However, I have a philosophy about studying UWorld. That's so whether you should study it in random mode or in system mode. If you're interested in my philosophy on studying UWorld, you can check out my video on how I used UWorld to get a score of 266 on the USMLE Step 2 CK. Alright, so in the second half of the day, I will study UWorld. My target was to study 40 to 80 questions per day. Of course, what is dedicated, that when the exam was close, that number went up, but largely for the period of my preparation, I've studied 40 to 80 questions per day. Okay. So then when I was done with UWorld, I moved on to the NBMEs. Now, NBMEs stand for National Board of Medical Examiners. They are the body that set the USMLE Step 1. And now they released some test forms that test the concept tested on USMLE Step 1. For Step 1, we have forms 20 to 31. Forms 20 to 24 are the older NBMEs, while forms 25 to 31 are the newer NBMEs. Now, if you are short on time, you can just focus on 25 to 31. However, if you have enough time, you can do 20 to 24. If your NBME scores are not hitting up to 70%, then you should do 20 to 24. Now, what do I mean by 70%? Each NBME form has 200 questions. 70% of 200 should be around 140 questions. So you should get about 140 questions correct and the maximum of 60 questions incorrect before you go in to take the Step 1. Now, some people say you can take the Step 1 when you are getting scores of 66% and above. Definitely, I've seen people get scores of 67%, 68% fail Step 1. So our advice should try to get your scores to consistently 70 and above of the NBMEs. Okay, now I have studied Boards and Beyond. I have used First Aid / Myanmar PDF. I have used UWorld. Now I'm studying my NBMEs. My scores are less than 70%. What should I do? In that case, I will advise you to consider different options. That depends on how low of a score you are getting. That depends on how far you need to cover to reach the target of 70%. Okay. If your scores are really a far cry from 70%, then you may consider redoing UWorld, revisiting UWorld. If the scores are they are not so far from 70%, maybe like 65%, you can instead just go through the whole of Myanmar PDF. You can also consider doing the older NBMEs 20 to 24. In fact, you should do the older NBMEs 20 to 24. Alright. If your scores are close like 65%, you may not need to go through the whole of UWorld again. You may just have to do your UWorld incorrect. So based on your scores in NBME, you will go back and fine-tune your prep. Alright, we're going to decide the what Boards and Beyond video again. But the point is that you should target to get a score of 70% on 3 consecutive NBMEs. So if you're starting NBMEs 25, and you're getting 64%, NBMEs 26, you're getting 63%, even though there's a problem. So you may have to go back to UWorld or Myanmar Medical or Boards and Beyond, NBMEs 2024, or a combination of all these, depending on how poor you are scoring on the NBMEs. Okay, that was my strategy for studying for the Step 1. So as a quick recap, I went through the whole of Boards and Beyond. I went through the whole of First Aid. Towards killing on my preparation, I took on one PDF and I got so much value. So my weaker systems, I studied them in Myanmar's PDF. Alright, of course, I went through the whole of UWorld and went through NBMEs 25 to 30, which is time constraint. I couldn't do NBME 31, and I passed USMLE Step 1. My NBME scores range between 82% to 91% for the USMLE Step 1. If you have any questions, do them in the comment section. If you are interested in similar content like this, do subscribe so you get a notification when I drop a new video. See you in the next one.